Hello and welcome. This is my take on an encoded multi-item sorter. So what is a multi-item sorter? Well, a multi-item sorter is a sorter that can put more than one item in a chest. There's basically two types. There's encoded multi-item sorters that do not require the chest to be filled and basically have another system somewhere else that selects the item that will go in that chest. And reserved slot multi-item sorters that basically need you to fill every item and will put an item in the chest if it can, otherwise it'll try the next chest. So this system here uses both systems. So the encoded multi-item sorter at the top is my own design, and at the bottom I'm using a design by Samus the Sage. And they work well together because the design by Samus the Sage basically fits below chest level, giving you plenty of room above to do other redstone. They also work quite well from a sorting perspective because, for the average Minecraft player, you're not going to want to encode an item for every single chest in the game. In fact, you're not even going to want to encode for every single item you might sort. Some of them you'll encode ahead of time, like sand and gravel that you have a lot of, such as we have here. But others, you'll just rearrange the chest as it fits. So you'll start making this chest something else as it fits in, and if you get too many of those, you move them about. So reserved slots are quite, convenient. You just set them up and you sort them as you go. And encoded are quite good for, bulk items that you want to silo. So let's show how it works. So I'll grab, a couple of these items, a couple of these items, a couple of these items, and a couple of these items. We'll also grab some from the reserved slots. We have to leave an item behind. If you leave empty slots in a reserved one, anything can go there. So this is only going to take those saplings. We'll come over here to our input chest. We'll just shove it all in. Any old how. Now this is moving at double hopper speed out of that chest. It'll then flow through to these and be sorted into these chests as it needs be. And we can sort of see it coming in. So it's not silent, but it is pretty quiet, so we can see these items coming through now. We should already see, some of the items coming in here already. We should also see some of the saplings coming in here already. So pretty quiet, pretty fast. How fast? Well, we'll just go over to our chest of items and we can see that it's nearly sorted all of those items we put in. So it's just running them through now. And all of those items we've put in are now fully sorted. Well, we should be. So those are the items we put there. And those are there. As you can see, all sorted. So how's it built? Well, one of the goals I had for this design is I wanted to keep it simple. So it's two-wide-tilable, but each tile is pretty straightforward. So it has a staging tile. So the staging tile basically detects when an item is in this dropper and releases the clock line. So the clock lines are 2 tick on, 2 tick off, clock 1 from somewhere else. By releasing it, it allows that clock line to pulse this observer. So every 4 ticks, this observer will pulse, which will then basically run this repeater into that observer and then pulse this dropper as well. So the item will come up here and then 2 ticks later will be moved out of that dropper into the sampling chamber. For those 2 ticks that's in here, it'll be read by this compounder. So this compounder will also be on for 2 ticks, which will turn this compounder off for 2 ticks. There's just an item in this barrel. It's a barrel because what we're going to have is barrel with redstone on top, compounder, barrel with redstone on top, compounder. So it's just a nice way of doing two-wide-tilable negates, I guess, not gates, that don't burn out if they're pulsed quite frequently. So from there, we come over to our sampling one. So our sampling one, we're going to have some items in here. We don't have them at the moment because it can't turn on without the other slot. But we have some items in here, and there'll be 21 items here, and then when this one comes in, if it's on its own, that brings it up to 22, not quite enough to change the redstone signal to 2. But if there's 2 items in here, it'll change it to 23, which will turn that redstone to 2 instead of 1, which will trigger this observer. And the way we do this is we have a filter item in here, and the filter item will move from here to here, and then back again. So if the filter item can join and stack with its item over here, it'll come over here and increase the signal. If it can't, it'll stay there. And, if it does move from here to here, there's now an empty slot, so this can then push it back before this hopper is released, pulling our sampled item downwards. Our center model we released when this repeater drops after that one, so tick 1, that hopper, tick 2, that hopper, tick 3, that hopper releases. But by then, this compiler would have read that, pulsed its observer, moving an item from this dropper up, so there's an item in this dropper, which will turn off this compiler, allowing this to unlock. So if that did tick to 2 ticks, then it'll drop from here to here, and then from here to here. But before it could move out into the rest of the items, if it has been a match, it will now move into this item because that'll be released, moving into our sorting line. Our sorting line basically has a hopper facing this way, so that this hopper takes priority and will move all the items to here first and anything in this silo. But if this silo fills up, it'll just back up over into the other silo. So that's why there's pairs of chests over there, even though it's two-wide-tilable and not one-wide-tilable. So the only other thing you need to worry about is the clock line. So as you can see, there's a clock line in both pictures. And this is basically what keeps the system synchronized. As we can see over here, just a compounder with a torch behind it in subtract mode. Very basic clock. So if I just grab some items, we can sort of see it working in practice again. Just grab a lot of them because it does work quite fast. We should see them come through here. There they are. And you can see the observer firing. And you can see that is keeping that compounder off instead of on, like would be for slices that aren't filtering items through. So the next bit is how we're moving the items up. So we have this item elevator. So this is basically silent. It moves at double hopper speed and you can do it to any height. So if you want to come up just 1, 2, 3, whatever you like. First layer is quite simple. It's just our 2-tick clock again. But this time going into a target block as well, and then an observer tower next to it. Moving the items, double hopper speed up and silently, but also giving us room for our double chest hopper buffer on the inside of the elevator. Now the system isn't perfect. Something that will stuff it up is items that don't stack to 64. And that's because the compounder is basically relying on how far that reads. So for 16 stack items, you could have a whole series of 16 stack items in here, and then just, have one less item in here, and then you could filter for 16 stack items. I think you might have to go down to 4 of each actually, rather than 5 of each. But that's still not going to help because unless you do all of your 16 stack items, they're still going to go over to the next one. And we'll just grab some shovels to sort of see what happens when you actually have some non-stacking items in here. So we'll just take these again. And I'm just going to give myself some more shovels. And we're just going to do a mix of items. There we go. And I'm probably not up here fast enough to show you the shovels coming through. But we can see that we should have... There's the shovel. So one of the shovels has come through here, and there's another shovel. It's basically being detected along with these other items. And we might also get some shovels here. It's a bit random where the shovels go. So what you can do is if you do have non-stacking items come in, you just have to come in and clear them out. That's all. That's solution 1, and that's the solution I'll probably go with. There is another solution though. So let's go have a look at our alternative for taking non-stacking items out. So if you ever look up on the internet non-stacking item filters, you'll probably see something similar to this. There'll be torches and comparators involved. They do work. If we take our items over here, we just put them in. If say we put the shovel and some dirt, and we'll see that our shovels come over here and our dirts come over here, which is what we want. The problem is that's a torch, and being a torch, it means that torches can burn out. So there should be another shovel here somewhere. There it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then shovel, shovel. So if it comes in this pattern, we've just got enough burnout of the torch that's going to pulse, and we'll see it burn out in a second. And what we should see is the shovel has come through here where it's not meant to. And that's because that torch is needed to regulate the system, and it's not doing that anymore because, well, hopper speed runs the torch too fast. So what can we do about it? Well, over here we have an alternative design, and it's very similar to the encoded multi-item sorter. So basically we detect some items in this dropper, and we'll start our clock that we've seen many times now. This clock will pulse the dropper through this target block, but it'll also 2 ticks later come into the side of that comparator. For a 3rd tick, that will then unlock the hopper. So basically 2 ticks after that drop is pulsed, the item will come here, and then 3 ticks after it, it'll come down here. So that means the item's in here exactly for 1 tick. Being here for exactly 1 tick, it means that this comparator can read it and modify this redstone line, indicating that this hopper should be released and move it this way instead of that way. So quite simple really. The only other thing is we've got some filler items in here, and that's so that we can deal with both non-stacking items but also items that stack to 16. So we'll just grab all our items again. We'll do the same difficult pattern we had before, so just spread those out. Shovel, 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 and honey bottles. And we can see it is running at hopper speed. It's basically only ever 1 item in here, so we're running as fast as you can with hoppers. But silently, we're getting all our non-stacking items over here, or items that don't stack to 64 at any rate. And over here, we've got our stacking items that stack to 64. So if you don't want to, deal with cleaning out your stacking items occasionally in this design, just put one of these in the middle. It'll run silently, it will get rid of them, and you just need to, have a little bit more room onto the right of the input chests. Thank you for watching. I hope this design is helpful to some people. I've been working on it quite a while. I really feel like this is a good mix between, using the 2 different systems together, and I think it'll be suitable for most worlds where you're not really at SciCraft levels. So thank you for watching.